The news of a Hamas ceasefire agreement was met with cheering crowds in Gaza and beyond. But no sooner was this announcement made, Israel shut down all hopes of ending the bloodshed by rejecting Hamas's proposal. But wasn't Hamas's ceasefire agreement an answer to Israel's counterproposal? And if so, shouldn't Israel accept that? Well, not exactly. Now, this is the timeline because it's very important. Hamas sent to Israel the proposal, as you're about to see, on April 13th. And then Israel sent a counter-proposal to Hamas's proposal, which Hamas was reviewing. And then talks with mediators began. The recent talks that were held in the Egyptian capital, Cairo, however, involved mediation, which meant Israel's counter-proposal was on the table as the basis for the talks. Egyptian and Qatari mediators hammered out a final proposal with Hamas, and then the announcement of an agreement was made, the ceasefire. Then the agreement would involve the three phases. There's lots of details here, but basically each of which would last 6 weeks, 3 phases. It would involve things like a temporary ceasefire, withdrawal of Israeli regime forces to the east, gradual release of 33 captives, and for each civilian Israeli captive released alive, Israel would release 30. Reconstruction work and the flow of aid was also included in this ceasefire announcement by Hamas. Now, moving on to the second phase of the deal, which you're going to see, there would be a permanent end to military operations and a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. There would also be another prisoner swap, this time involving all the remaining Israeli men, including soldiers held captive in Gaza. The Israelis would be released in return for a not yet specified number of Palestinian prisoners. The third phase would see an exchange of the remains of the captives and also of the prisoners held by both sides. On the development side, this phase would involve roughly a 3 to 5 year max reconstruction plan for Gaza and perhaps most significantly an end to the Israeli siege and the blockade of the enclave. Well, within hours after the Hamas announcements agreeing to a ceasefire, Israel rejected the ceasefire. You can see the two most important points coming up, putting into question its sincerity first in reaching a deal. It said it was far from Israel's essential demands on the one hand, and the major sticking point, Hamas's demand for a permanent ceasefire, something that Israel has said it would not agree to under no circumstances. Well, Israel has said it would nonetheless send negotiators to continue talks on a deal. A Rafah offensive was still going ahead with that while still negotiating a ceasefire, putting into question the whole approach by Israel. And of course, Israel says that's in order to put pressure on Hamas to release the captives. Interestingly, and at the same time, a close Israeli ally, the U.S., said it was reviewing the Hamas response, but has been tight-lipped about that response. Nothing has come out yet. Well, the Israeli military says it has fully captured Gaza's Rafah crossing that you see over there. Now, this corridor that you see there is called the Philadelphia Corridor. The military said the crossing is now disconnected from the Saladin Road in eastern Rafah, which was seized before. Their aim to control any flow of goods from the Rafah crossing into the Gaza Strip. This, in essence, would mean that the Gaza Strip would be completely shut off from the world. Well, Israel's military has urged 100,000 Palestinians to head for what it calls the expanded humanitarian area that's marked in those two areas that are highlighted, and evacuation zones. This would be a movement from the west to the east to an area by the name of Al-Mawasi. This evacuation is being done under Israeli bombs and military operations. Now, let's take a look at this Al-Mawasi or Mawasi area. It's already packed, as you're about to see, with 250,000 Palestinians. There you have the Al-Mawasi, you have Khan Yunis. You're looking at 100,000 that Israel is trying to evacuate. There's 250,000 over there, and keep in mind there's 1.25, a little over 1 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. There aren't enough facilities to accommodate all of these people. So why would Israel even want to do that? That's what the world is asking. There's not even enough tents to erect over there. Well, as it stands, Israel has taken over the Rafah crossing into the Gaza Strip and is adamant to take out Hamas fighters, while it has again repeated its rejection of the ceasefire as announced by Hamas.